Greetings, my dear viewers, and welcome to the final instalment of Ed Wood Month. Today's film, we'll be taking a look at Ed Wood's last movie with Night of the Ghouls. I'm only joking with you people, though I do want to give a little quick review of it. When I first watched Night of the Ghouls, I thought it was meh, but now it's sort of boring. It doesn't get interesting, and it's just really too damn weird. Even weirder than Glen or Glenda. The only subtle things I kind of enjoy of this film is Tor Johnson playing Lobo, and the introduction of Criswell. But unfortunately, it's just a really boring movie, and will make you want to fall asleep halfway through. So unfortunately, Night of the Ghouls will get a very short review, and a very disappointing score of 4 out of 10. And in the words of Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park,
that is one big pile of shit.
Now with that awful thing done and over with, let's get to the real thing while we're all here. That is Tim Burton's Ed Wood. Taking place in the 1950s, Edward D. Wood Jr., played by Johnny Depp, is a struggling filmmaker who wants to make it big in Hollywood. That isn't until he meets his idol, and Dracula himself, Bela Lugosi, played by the late Martin Landau, who is struggling on hard times and has unfortunately been addicted to morphine for quite a number of years. So to help his friend Bela, Ed Wood decides to make many movies, including Glen or Glenda, Bride the Monster, and Plan 9 from Outer Space, along with the help with many of his collaborators, including Criswell, Tor Johnson, Dolores Fuller, Vampira, and many more. I'm just gonna say it, I love this movie, and I personally love it because it's a fun film that inspires people to become filmmakers like Ed Wood, even if they don't have the budget to make the movies. And there's some really good origins about this movie. After the release of Plan 9 from Outer Space, Ed Wood decided to move on from directing movies and just write some pulp novels and become a producer. Yeah, some of these films weren't even as popular as Plan 9, and he was slowly forgotten. Sadly, in 1978, Ed Wood died of a heart attack after a long addiction to alcohol, and he was unfortunately forgotten. That isn't until a book called The Golden Turkey Awards listed his movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space, as the worst film ever, and himself being granted as the worst director ever, and his films grew back into popularity. And surprisingly, some fans might wanted to see a movie about him, and that's when we get to the director himself, Tim Burton, best known for creating Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, the Batman movies, and many more. But back to Ed Wood. The story is really good. Even if it gives a few inaccuracies to Ed Wood's life, it certainly has all the good stuff in there. Hell, I wasn't even expected that Vincent D'Onofrio actually played Orson Welles in the movie. Having the film shot in black and white is actually a pretty clever, unique idea, as most of Ed Wood's movies were shot in black and white. And that's one of the many things I actually really love about Tim Burton's movies. I even enjoy the characters. Let's focus on our main character, Ed Wood, played by the legendary Johnny Depp, and I really like him in this role, as Ed Wood is a very struggling director, but he never gives up on whatever he's going to make. He'll always make sure that his films are going to be bigger and better than ever. Another highlight of the movie has to be Martin Landau playing Bela Lugosi. You feel sorry for him for his many struggles that he's actually done. And you can actually realise and feel the empathy of how much he had to go through. Like being typecast for the last 20 years and having to be addicted to morphine. You do get to feel sympathy for him. I even think the supporting cast is pretty great. Of course, we have Bill Murray playing Bunny Beckett, professional wrestler George Steele portraying the legendary Tor Johnson, Sarah Jessica Parker as Ed Wood's former girlfriend Dolores Fuller, Tim Burton's girlfriend at the time Lisa Marie as Vampira, and none other than Juliet Landau playing Loretta King. And surprisingly, Juliet is actually the daughter to Martin Landau, who played Bela Lugosi, and I didn't know that until I was watching the movie. Of course, most of you who know Juliet Landau, we all know her better as Drusilla in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But overall, Ed Wood from 1994 is a fun film. The writing is really good, the characters are great, the casting is especially perfect, and you may drop a tear or two. I'd recommend it to anyone, either a filmmaker, a fan of Ed Wood, a Tim Burton fan, or anyone in general. For the audience score, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. For my personal score for Ed Wood, I'm going to give it a solid 10 out of 10. And that's Ed Wood Month for you people, and really, that's all the movies I'm going to cover here. I could talk about Ed Wood's other projects, but I wanted to focus on Ed Wood's three main classic films. But in conclusion, Edward D. Wood Jr. was certainly just a simple guy who wanted to make movies. He didn't care what the people said, he just wanted to do what he thought was fun. Some of his movies were great, others not so much, but it's best to remember not to judge a book by its cover. But I can say, he will certainly be remembered as the worst director of all time. I hope you've enjoyed these really strange movies by a director who was really ambitious for the time. So, join us next time, where we take a look at not one, but two Phantom of the Opera movies, in a new series called Original vs. Remake. Who will win? You'll find out.